You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, episode 98. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where growth and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey, balancing life with the wisdom of Egun, Ifa, and Orisha in our everyday lives. I am your host, Yvonne. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Oh, this episode. This episode has gotten rewritten a few times, and I am quite happy with it. But if you leave it up to me, I'm going to rewrite it a few more times because boy, oh boy, this one is a doozy. This is not an episode that I would keep little children around because they're going to inquire about certain topics that I would not suggest for anyone's children. So this is an earbuds type of episode. I hope that you all gather your tea. You're going to need it. Coffee, not so much. Maybe some tea, something like lavender, tilo, chamomile, because we're going to need to have our brain powers, but to calm down. This one is so sensitive that I have to start with a disclaimer. Yes. So we are going to get into this episode, but we are going to roll with it after we listen to today's sponsor for this episode, because it's going to be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to your thoughts and your comments. And I know some of you are going to go watch some of this stuff in other external sources, and So with that, let's head into today's sponsor. This episode is being brought to you by Your Virtual Ile, and it is so new. We are currently looking for its founding members. If you are looking for a spiritual home and don't have one yet and want to be part of something, make Your Virtual Ile your home until you find your physical home. Who is this for? This is for any alejos, aborishas, or priests who are looking for community. This is a safe space to start discussing and learning about eguns, about orishas, and how these lessons relate to our lives now. This is crucial for those who do not know someone, or for those who do know some people but haven't quite found their tribe yet. We are in the forming stages as the founding members, and it is you as a founding member who will give the feedback and lay the groundwork and foundation for a community for many to come in the future. Yes, from the tone and the energy and the vibe of this space. For details, go to orishawisdom.com/Yvonne and click on the image that says Your Virtual Ile and come home to your community. Well. Also, I have been getting a couple of messages here or there. How can we support you? If your virtual Ile is something that is not for you, that's okay. We still love you. If you want to contribute, if you want to support, become a patron of Patreon. I'm just going to call them Patreons at this point. It's just gotten to that point. I can never say patron. As stated, this is going to be a very interesting episode. It's a very sensitive nature. It is so much so that this is the Orisha Wisdom Podcast's first ever disclaimer that I, Yvonne Reborn, your host, has to read. So with that, before we even get into it, let's go. And here's the paper. See, there you go. Paper. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast episode are based on information derived from publicly available docuseries, videos, and other media sources. They are presented for informational and discussion purposes only and do not represent any definitive statements or endorsements. This content is based on allegations and public discourse, and it is not intended to accuse or defame any individuals or entities. The information discussed here should not be taken as factual or definitive. We encourage listeners to conduct their own research and form their own interpretations. This podcast and its host, me, Yvonne Reborn, do not assume any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any information discussed. We do not intend to make any claims or accusations, and any references made are for the purpose of discussion and analysis only. Oh my God, that was like a mouthful. I should have done it in like TV voice. Maybe I should do it again on TV voice. I've taken a ton of notes. You're going to see a lot, and I'm going to keep my pen and my stickies close by because sometimes other ideas keep coming. So you're going to hear a lot of rustling. But we are going to start. I am adamant for folks in our community to spot red flags in order not to find themselves in a spot of any fraudulent or bad situation. So with that, I'm going to ask you a question. What do the world's greatest, the song, Twin Flames, and Bad Surgeon have to do with that in order to avoid red flags? That is what we are going to be discussing today. We're going to be discussing our boy R. Kelly, Twin Flames, and Bad Surgeon. We can learn from these to not become victims. We can learn to recognize scammers in a lot of arenas. And we're going to go through it. This is not an all-encompassing, but this is going to give you something. You're going to be able to hear from the in people and from the outside as well. And there are a lot of very eerie similarities that are happening within the Orisha communities. So with that, I'm going to start with a story. I need a sound for like story. I don't know. We're gonna have to think about this so I can put it into my little machine so I can press a button and there it goes, like sound. I went to New York to visit mom. Mom is not doing very well for Thanksgiving. And I took my little one and I took the dog and we had road trip, and it was difficult because I was not feeling very well. I had a medical thing going on myself, so it was not fun. At least that drive was very long. And on the way back, when you are in like Spotify, YouTube Music or stuff like that, you may be into a point where you can, they give you suggestions. And this song started to play. And I remember I was on the way back. And the song was The World's Greatest, which was interesting because I had never heard the song. And it came out in the 90s. I had never heard the song. So when I look at my screen, it says R. Kelly. And I'm like, but the song was amazing. I mean, see, I'm not even looking at the notes because I remember the whole thing. I'd never heard these words before. And after a lot of things that I had been through, I said, holy crap, shit, man. Those are amazing words. I put that sucker on repeat. It was like, oh my God, I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that, mountain peak up high. Yeah, I've made it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like so great. I seriously was going to turn this into my ringtone. I really, like, how do I put a song into a ring? I was going to make like that piece, in the chorus. I was going to make that my ringtone. And this is, I told you, you're going to hear a rustling of papers. This is where the intervention almost happened. So then when the intervention almost happens, I called a friend of mine, and I'm so excited about this song because the song was so inspiring. I felt almost like I could fly for real. I could scale mountains. I've made it. I'm that little bit of hope when your back's against the walls. And I'm like, yes, that's me. That's so me. I call a friend of mine, and I'm so excited. And I'm like, this is what happened. And I'm like, I think I want to do something. I don't know what's going on with him, but I think I'm going to find him, and I'm going to write R. Kelly a letter. And I'm going to tell him, thank you for writing this song. The song really meant a lot to me. She's like, stop. She wasn't feeling well. She's going to listen to this. She's like, yep, this is true. It totally happened. She's not feeling well, my friend. And she's like, I'm going to have to call a group intervention because we're a very close group of people. She's like, I'm going to have to call an intervention. I don't even have the energy to call the intervention. I'm like, fuck, but why? She's like, do you know what that man has done? And I said, I think I watched a peeing video, but I didn't know anything else. And I think he went to jail, but he might be out. Like, I was clueless. She's like, Yvonne, you need to go find out what happened to him and what he has done. And I'm like, okay, no problem. She goes, go to Netflix. I think it's going to be there. And I remember that docuseries because honestly, I think I saw a piece of it. Gosh, that was years ago. But I didn't remember anything about the case, nor was I following it. And I actively do not look at the news. So the fun part for me, fun fact, I get my news through Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else. And I rarely go into channels because I stream. I don't see anything. So what do? I go to Netflix, and I didn't know there were 3. I watch all of the surviving R. Kelly, 1, 2, 3. There were 3 docuseries, and I was like, wow. And then, of course, I start researching on YouTube. So now I'm looking at YouTube, and it's wow. Oh, shit. Damn. Oh, my God. And then this one's interview and the interview afterwards, and oh, my God. You know, and when they had to go to court, I'm like, oh, my God. I was like, damn. And remember, if you do not know how algorithms work, if you look at something on the internet is going to feed you a lot more of that. So after watching the docuseries, what does Netflix do? So all my romantic, princess Christmas movies get bumped off in Netflix. Yes, I like those. Don't judge me. And my friend was like, yeah, something about twin flames. And there it was. I said, oh, my friend did mention that. So let me go take a look at that. I watched a docuseries. And then it suggests me Bad Surgeon about this doctor. I can't even remember his name right now. We're going to call him Bad Surgeon all throughout this episode. Then I saw, after the fact, I saw something about a dance cult, M7, and I think on YouTube it's called Not the Good Girl. And then there were other, videos about that. But this is an Orisha community. So what does that have to do with us, right? And for me, it made perfect sense. So now that's why I had to rewrite it before I gave it to you guys, because every time I was rewriting it, there were other similarities. So I was able to crunch them down to a few. So we are going to start. This is in no particular order, and you're going to see some of them involve all 3 of these, the twin flames, R. Kelly, and Bad Surgeon. Some of them are only for 2 of them because Bad Surgeon basically was like a solo act, but you'll see what I mean. There are similarities, and we're going to put this all together so that you're able to recognize what other people are going through or what you might be going through so that you could, tighten up your shoelaces and get ready to run. Got it? I I'm going to start with a big one, and it's systematic doctrination. It starts with, you're awesome, you're so special. Because you're in this group, you are very special. Because you're following this path, you are very special. And all three, the ones that I mentioned before, Bad Surgeon, R. Kelly, and Twin Flames, they definitely do that. And it doesn't start that way. It starts very subtly. It starts with a lot of accolades, with a lot of love. And it quickly starts to, actually not quickly, it takes time. I'm actually thinking it does. It takes time. It doesn't start right away. You're awesome. You're wonderful. You're supposed to be here. For the Twin Flames, for example, this is an organization that they're still active. They tell you who your twin flame is. And that would be great if you're able to learn how to find your one true love, right? That you're destined to. And that has an appeal. But then it got interesting. And this is what I wanted to dive into today. But systematic. It is little by little. But it starts with you're awesome, you're fabulous for being here. And then it starts to shift. In every scenario from these three, the men could be women, by the way. There were some other docuseries that I was watching that it was women that were leading. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? But I'm going to focus on these. In every situation here, the men or the leaders were revered and they placed themselves as an authority in their field. And what I wrote down was self-made or by industry. So what does that mean? Self-made would be R. Kelly. But at the same token, self-made is not R. Kelly, although it is because he did have his talent. I would say more the Twin Flames guy, because he was not, he didn't go to school for that, but he's the guru that deals with psychological aspects as well and sexual aspects, and he's the guy. So that's self-made. But by authority, by industry, I would say that that's more R. Kelly as a singer-songwriter, right? Producer, singer-songwriter, I believe. And the doctor, because he was a doctor for real. So in his field, he was the best of the best of the best. So I wanted to kind of begin with that. So yeah, we're about to get very interestingly deep. And some of these topics and these people that I'm mentioning and these organizations may trigger some of you. So apologies in advance, but I think they are very relevant to our traditions because what I have seen is scary on how similar these things are. So let's continue. The next set that I have here is what I call the untouchable complex. I remember writing the first sets of notes. So I have two pads in front of me, the one with the original notes, and the rewrite was literally writing over it. And I realized I can't do that because if I do that, I'm going to confuse my notes. And it was good that I was able to transfer it over. But as I was transferring it over, I remember writing down R. Kelly, untouchable, da-da-da-da-da, Twin Flames, untouchable, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, the untouchable complex. So the guy from Twin Flames, he made his own image first, right? He was the brand. They were the brand. And it was to find love. And of course, if you look at the docuseries, they talk about he didn't start out with that. He started out with other businesses that failed and other things that didn't do quite so well, but he found a niche. And the niche is how to find your twin flame. This is like your one true love that you're really, really meant to be with no matter what, right? Your destined one true love. And then from finding love, it was then to communicate with God. Now, God was communicating with him to tell you who your twin flame was. So from that, it turned to a religion. it's like it turned into a religion based on the allegations that were made. Then, this is where it gets really interesting. Then it turned into, he's a reincarnation of God, telling people how they should live, who they should be with. It's creepy. And I don't want to skip ahead because I wanted to say something, but I don't want to get to it until we get to that spot. So we're going to start breezing through these topics, but you're going to see how similar and how it entails into our traditions. Now, in Bad Surgeon, he is basically God, and he basically will tell you, Doctor, do you think that this is going to be good and that I'm going to be okay? Look at my hands. This is God. So there's a God complex as well as that. And even though 25 of his 26 patients died with the trash plastic trachea that he was making and putting them, he was God. He was untouchable. And that's why I called it the untouchable complex. And with R. Kelly, he wrote beautiful songs and performed them beautifully. That man got chops. Inspiring music that still has left an indelible mark in the music community that just transferred from R&B to everything. But then he thought he was above the law and untouchable. And he behaved in such a way as though nothing could touch him. Right? A lot of artists and a lot of people also have that, but we're going to focus on these three. Now, we're going to separate some of these areas now because these are very different. They're not per se cult leaders, but you're going to see that there's a cult following to each one of them while they were in their prime, except Twin Flames that is still active. They still have their own thing going. They have classes about introspection, or is it control? And that was the question that I wrote. And this is focusing on Twin Flames. Classes that dove into the psyche of a person. But they were not doctors. They were not therapists. They were not, what is that called? LCS, MCSW, whatever. All those certifications that you're supposed to go to school and study psychology, the brain, and yeah, none of them have it, but they teach it. The classes were used, according to the people who have left, to control, and it's still being used to control their members, the people who are there, and their community. Classes for them are paid and mandatory. The thing about those classes is that the classes are also meant to deal with you. I'm trying to explain that. I wish I would have written that note because I wrote that to deal. So if you're sick, you're supposed to, like if you are in an abusive relationship and you're a girl and he told you, no, but that guy, he is your twin flame, and you are like, listen, he just beat me up. He broke my ribs. I don't think this is right. No. What you need to do is you need to go back to this class. You need to look at it again. And you need to meditate on the whatever, because they have their own system. And it's your fault. You're like, God damn. But because he's God and the mouth of God at that point, depending on when he was telling you, it is going to be your fault. But those classes are mandatory and they are paid. So I'm actually going to, you know what? I'm going to put mandatory and paid because we might go back to that in a bit. That's why I usually have like stickies everywhere. The next topic is us against the world. All three suffer from this complex. It is us against the world. Every leader, actually every cult leader ever, has said this. It is us against them. It's them against me. It's them against us. They are going to be talking bad about me. And when they are talking bad about me, then they are talking bad about you, because this includes you too. So they are against us. They, whoever they are. So for bad surgeon is anybody who is questioning his surgery ethics, how his patients were doing. And because he was world renowned. And it was like, oh my God, if he can help me, I'm going to fly to wherever he's at for him to save me, because I can't talk and my trachea can do this. And okay. But when they started kind of asking questions, those are lies. And it's them against me. For R. Kelly, we already know after he went on the rant, why are they trying to do this to me? This is, I'm fighting for my life here. It's everybody against me. And Twin Flames is still saying that it's everybody against them. And if you are not with them, you are absolutely against them. The next one that I wanted to say, which is right here, it's still in the same vein. I am right. The world is wrong. And here's an interesting way, because some of them, definitely not bad surgeon, definitely not R. Kelly, maybe Twin Flames, depending on when that guy was, like in the earlier portions, he was saying, well, I'm still learning. And I wrote down fake humility. Because if you're saying I'm still learning, but this is the way we're going to do this, there's problems with that. And again, we're talking about our traditions. We understand that when we are going into a spiritual house, there is a hierarchy. I get that. There is a hierarchy. There are rules that you're going to have to, there are things you are going to have to start paying attention to what they're saying. I get that. I get that. But this is a little beyond that. And it is more now that you are above it all. You are it. You are the it person. It is up to you. There is nothing above you. You are it. That's when I'm saying that this is a problem. And I put in with little stars, this is the only way, my way. When you start seeing that, that is a problem. Again, within our traditions, there is a hierarchy. When you have a godparent, godfather, or godmother, right? At least in the Lukumi realm. And if you have somebody who's teaching you, we understand that it is going to be their way. But it's not their way if you really look at it. It is the way they were taught. And there should be other elders around. But when you come across a person that it is only that person's way, that's the red flag that I wanted you to see. In addition to that, there is a saying that all three had in common. They are lying about me, or they are lying about us, or they are lying about our organization. When you see that, I want you to pay attention, because it's not that they're lying. It is, for example, when they try to go investigate Twin Flames, oh, that was not allowed. Everything was very scripted. When the whole R. Kelly situation and those two girls went, everything was scripted fully to the point everybody knew an answer. That is what I'm focusing on. When they say, oh, they said this, you need to think about that. And I'm putting this out, even though I thought I was going to say this afterwards, that a lot of people are going through similarities in what I'm saying in their spiritual houses. And I understand there are rules. I understand that there are things, there are vows that need to be made. There is a level of secrecy. I understand that. But this is a little more on the leadership side and the ego side. And this is what I need to focus on. So for all you priests and for all of you, paleros, tatas, and babalaos, don't be beating me up. This is about the one and only up on top, or the few and only up on top. That can be dangerous when there are no checks and balances. All right? So don't kill me just yet. And we're not even halfway through, dude. When they say, do not trust anyone, just us or just me, I need a red flag. I need a sound for a red flag. Somebody send me something because I need something. This is the issue because it has to be about Odu and it has to be about the elders that are always above you. You cannot be the last one standing. There's always someone above. So when somebody's telling you, don't trust anyone, it's just us. Are you trying to say everybody else is bad? All the 7 billion people, like all the other santeros, paleros, babalaos, candombleros, are they all bad? Oh, it's just you. It's just you. This is the type of demeanor, attitude that I would love for people to start being aware of. This is the red flag that we are talking about. When somebody says, anyone that is against me or against us is bad, that is an issue. That is an issue. Another thing that I found, very common similarity, is the word triangulation. I had to really search for what it really was. It took me, you know what? I'm going to stop right now because I am going, I'm going to look for it. Okay. In psychology, these are the terms. I literally stopped to look at it. Triangulation in psychology terms refers to using threats of exclusion or manipulation, often behind someone's back or through indirect communication. That's the psychology definition. And it took me a bit. I had heard the word before, but I didn't know quite the definition of it. And it is basically when you're using others for your purpose in order to manipulate or control a situation. So on this one, I'm going to say that it's more for the twin flames and the R. Kelly situation that we are going to talk about, because the bad surgeon was basically doing things on his own, but he did use media. So there was triangulation. So you know what? I'm going to scratch that out. He did, because he dated somebody who could get him out of a mess. He used that. But so he manipulated the public through her. Holy crap. That's scary. So it was triangulation for everybody. Dang it. They use this technique of creating an environment of getting the community to also tattle on each other. And they use them for a punishment or to better control or manipulate a situation. Twin Flames was great at this. They had the same language of, you are so lucky to be here with us. And to keep favor, you must do the right thing in the eyes of God, for example, in this example, right? Could be to gain favor with the head honcho, whoever that leader is, whoever that person is. If there is ever a system of telling on someone, and how can I put this? If there's ever a system or something that's going on where in order for you to gain favor, you also have to tattle on someone else, they're actually using that information. They're using the community to self-watch. I thought that was crazy. And I found that out after watching another documentary, and I was like, oh, that's what that is. They get each other to tell on each other. I'm like, that's some scary. So the leader, whoever is the leader, is manipulating that situation and using the other people in order to get that done. R. Kelly did the same thing, but the girls were basically just trying to survive. But he did use other people in order to control a narrative or to get them to do something. How does this apply? I'm going to stop for a moment. How does this apply? There are a lot of houses. I thought it was just the one that I come from, but no, there are a lot of places that people have been in, fled, are still in, where there's a lot of chit chat. And people are like, oh, we're not really, we're not telling on anyone. We're just doing the right thing. This is the right thing. You got to tell me if so-and-so did something. And we have to realize a lot of us are coming to this as adults. We have our own shit and we're doing our own adulting. So on top of that, in order to gain favor with God, with the spiritual, with the person who's going to divine my twin flames, with the person who is going to make me a star, or, that spiritual leader, right? That godparent, that spiritual guide, they're using that in order for you to tell on each other so that you could be earning their favor. That happens a lot. I just didn't know what word to put into it, and it's scary. Okay? Yeah. You may need to pause this episode a bit. I know. Another aspect, secrecy. Again, I'm going to go through this, but in our traditions, we have things that are secret, which is okay. There are things. For example, I'm a little weird case because I know what happens in an Ocha room on the most part, right? But I know not to divulge that for the non-initiates. It's not for them to know. It's not for them to know. So there are things that are going to be maintained a secret. This is not what I'm talking about, peoples. I'm talking about other things. If you get somebody, you cannot talk to anyone else, that's a problem. That is a problem. You cannot talk bad about the leader. You cannot say anything. You cannot question anything that is going on. That is an issue. And this was an absolute with all three. You cannot question. That bad surgeon, you could not question him. He is it. He is God. And he would show you his hands. I am God. God is going to save you. You're talking to him. R. Kelly, you know already if you have watched, and if not, please watch it. I will. Oh, that's right. I can't link it because it's on Netflix. So if you're on Netflix, just look for the docuseries. There are 3 of them now. And you're able to watch it. And of course, YouTube, have fun, because YouTube is like, wow, that's like another, you'll be there watching for hours and hours and hours. Twin Flames does the same thing. You cannot talk badly about leadership. So in Twin Flames was really interesting because that one relates closer to what a lot of people have gone through, are going through, or people who have gone through this. That if you question, they're blocked everywhere. They're blocked in the social media, they're ghosted, and they'll never talk to you. That is, or they'll tell you, you have done whatever and you have spoken bad about it, so you're blocked. And people are like, but wait a second, I've given you all of this time, money, effort. What happened? There's nothing. You spoke bad, end of story. You're done. And we already know R. Kelly would punish you in other ways. Not only not speaking to you, but we're talking not eating. We're talking, other degrading things. There is that you cannot question. You cannot talk bad about leadership. And that happens a lot within our community. But if you do not know what you're looking for, you may miss it because people are on best behavior in public, but not when you're already in the process of being indoctrinated. Holy hell. By the time you recognize it, you're stuck. You feel stuck. By the way, you can get out and there is help, but I understand the why you don't. Anything against the head of the organization or the organization itself is treason and punishable. And I literally wrote that down verbatim. This seems to be a common thread on the red flags that I'm discussing. If you're looking at NXIVM, if you're looking at Scientology, if you're looking at cult this, cult the other, it's the same thing. And I brought Bad Surgeon because I wanted to put that it's not just in a spiritual arena, which is why I didn't want to just discuss cults. Although Twin Flames, I think, falls very much into that. But as you can see, there are similarities. There are treasons that are committed if you question or if you do not do what you are being told to do. And there are punishments in each and every arena. So for the Bad Surgeon, he would ghost you. He would disappear. Or he would not answer you. Or he would just, don't worry about it. And that's it. He would. But the punishment for him is you would die. That sucks. Another point, loyalty becomes a huge, important matter, which is more important than you. And I had to rewrite that several times. I really read that verbatim. And I'm going to read it again. Loyalty becomes a huge, important matter, which is more important than you. So your well-being is not as important as your loyalty to the person or to the organization. The reason why you exist is for this organization. Same thing happens. And I think in our traditions, we have seen so many things that have been done wrong in ceremonies, wrong to people, but people keep quiet because they're loyal to the elder so-and-so. Like, I ain't going against him. I'm going to keep quiet. Meantime, they screwed up, whoever. And that's why this is scary. And again, it talks about us against those who are against us. I will say, it never starts that way. But sometimes it progresses to something that becomes irrecognizable. And by the time you get to see it, it's too late. I say, it doesn't matter how long you've been with a person. If you really start seeing this and that's it, like you see it, it's better that you walk and keep your sanity, your mental well-being, emotional well-being, your finances, your physical well-being. It's so much better for you to walk. But I understand the why many people do not, especially when spirituality is attached to it, because you're very vested in these people, group, spirituality, faith, doctor, person who's going to find me my twin flames and the love of my life who's going to probably make me, rich, wealthy, singer, whoever, right? It's tough to think about. And after speaking to so many people in the community, it is so unfortunate that by the time we get to see it, it's pretty much late. But not too late because you're still alive, but it's late because we missed it. We missed it. Here's another bit, another section. Do as you are told. Again, in our traditions, I get it, but we're going to go beyond that, okay? When now we are going from the way that you dress to who you are close to what you believe in, to the way that you speak, to your demeanor, to your style. When now we are moving on being told how to do all of that, that is an issue. When your voice goes bye-bye, that is an issue. Before I get there, I want to put the caveat. I understand, for example, you may be told never to wear red. That is different. That's not what I'm talking about. You may have to wear white for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm talking about either. I'm talking about when you lose your sense of identity because you're told that everything you are is incorrect. You lose your voice. You lose your opinions. It's like in the beginning, your opinions first are heard and they're open and you're like, oh my God, this person is really listening to me. The one thing, if you watch the docuseries about Bad Surgeon, he did this very well. Very, very well. He would listen to you like you were the only person in the universe. He would come to your home. He was notorious for doing that. He would make visits. And you're like, this doctor really, really cares about me. Next thing you know, he cuts you up, puts that little plastic thingy, and you die. And he disappears. R. Kelly was also very good at this. R. Kelly was notorious, based on all of the allegations, that when he would meet you, you would feel like you were the only person in the world. Like he really gets you. He really understands you. That's amazing. Because then you have the person hooked, or you become hooked. And twin flames, obviously they do that. They do this very, very well and structurally because they give you like a mentor. And this mentor is there to listen to you. But after a while, you lose your voice in stages. First, they listen to you. Your opinions matter. You're important. And then, yeah, but what about this? So it starts so little, like I said, very subtle. Very, very subtle. And the scariest stage is where it appears that your opinions are heard and important. That's what's scary. And guess what? All these three and everybody else has done that. There's a stage. There is a stage where everything that you say is, thank you so much for sharing that with me. That was amazing. I really value your opinion. And you're like, OMG. This person really gets me. This doctor really gets me. He really feels me. They are really interested in, helping me find my twin flame. I'm going to pay attention. But you do not know when this is going on that there are meetings that are had behind your back to shoot you down and to figure out how they are going to change this for you. How you are going to be molded into what they need you to be. All three did the same. The exception is, I don't know about the bad surgeon. I think he just acted on his own, but he had his team, but he just manipulated that. So I'll say the other two on this one. This is a very deceiving stage, which could stay on a long time, but only for appearances. Yeah. It stands true that as you move up further up the ranks, so this does not apply to the doctor. Well, actually, it does. It does because the more the women fell in love with him, the more they were helping him. So, okay, never mind. It applies to them all. The more you move up and the more that you are involved, your voice disappears. That's scary, man. And it disappears unless, you're tattling on someone or you're looking for something wrong because you want to be in favor. It's scary and how all of these cogs in the wheel are working together. So here are a couple of things to look out for. Severe change in personality. Look for this. Where they happy-go-lucky, and then their personality went poof, disappeared? Is there such a major shift that your family, the closest ones to you, and your friends, the ones that are very, very close to you, they say you are irrecognizable? Because I know that for the twin flames and for the R. Kelly situation, this was it. I was watching the docuseries about M7 dancers. Same thing. They were not the same. Not the same. I'm going to put again, how does this translate to us? Let's say, I don't know, you are an alcoholic and you come into the traditions and you have to become sober. Now you're going to become sober. You have to deal with your sobriety. You're going to change, right? You're going to change. You're not going to be the same, but the core of who you are should remain intact or start getting better. If we are talking now that a person, like I said, a happy-go-lucky person is now very quiet, that's an issue. That's an issue that needs to be addressed. And there are several letters of the year. One of the letters, at least the one that I follow, says that if a person, be careful with people and reach out to them during their situations because they may appear that they are okay, but they're not. And you need to go check in on them. We need to start bringing humanity back. All right. So if you see a major shift in someone, and I will say because you're not going to see it in yourself, because you're going to be so involved if you are into something like this or a house like this, you're going to be thinking that you are going so fast towards enlightenment that you're not going to see the change, but the people around you are going to tell you, but you're not the same. You're not the same. What's going on with you? You're not. You used to joke around. What happened? Or you used to have such a positive demeanor. Or you used to always say a kind word. Or whatever it is, something that was uniquely yours and it's disappeared. That's an issue. It's almost like your essence is changing. Issue that we need to take a look. So you're not going to recognize it if it's you. I'm sorry. You're just not. But if anything, you probably will remember your friends telling you. And you may be so involved that you're like, see, they're trying to get me down. They're no good for me. Just saying. Here's another one. Fear of punishment. This doesn't go on the bad surgeon side because he was just a bad surgeon. But on everywhere else, on the other two, oh my God. And there was this crazy lady in Australia that she kidnapped basically 28 kids and tried to raise them. Those children were in fear of doing anything wrong. It was terrible. And the stories that those kids talk about, I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. How is this even allowed to happen? Well, she did it. And she didn't even go to jail for it. It's just so disgusting. So, yeah, fear of punishment. And we're not meaning a belt. No. There's different ways of punishing you. Okay. There's this crazy man who was supposedly God, and he had Jackie, which was Jesus, Allah, I forgot, all of them. He had all of them together, and he kept these women in his house and his daughter for 30 years plus. And there was a fear of spiritual and physical repercussion. So the spiritual was going to kill them. So here is where it falls for us. It could be the fear of the godparent is not going to like you anymore. The godparent may talk to the other elders about you. The godparent may talk to your god siblings. The godparent may not invite you to events. The godparent, or the Orishas are going to kill you. The Eguns are going to kill you. The Muertos are going to kill you. I can kill you. I can do this. That is fear of punishment. And that's why I said, pay attention, because these are others, organizations and people examples, but they correlate in what I have been told. And even though I've disappeared for a while I've been trying to just stand and cope, people are going through stuff. And that's why I'm like, yeah, we need to talk about this, because I'm not alone. And a lot of people are going through one or many of these, and they don't even know it, but they know something is wrong. And some of them have started to reach out and to hear the disasters that some spiritual people or people are doing in the name of spirituality is disgusting. Just saying, it's disgusting. Here's another tidbit. And this is very prevalent in the spiritual community. There is a message of I can do anything to you because I am, and I left it blank, XYZ. Because I am a son of God. Because my hands are God, like the bad surgeon, right? Because I am a genius. Because God speaks to me. Because I'm the reincarnate of God. Because I am so close to the spirits that the spirits talk to me. Because I found favor with this spirit. Because this Orisha loves me more than anybody in the world. Because of whatever it is. Because my let's say my godparents Orisha said that I was going to be the best godparent ever. Therefore. So because blank. Put that answer there. It goes to the I am this and you are nothing. I have heard this with my own ears. And it is sad because it is people in the community and many people that we love. We're talking big shots. I have this amount of years. You're nothing. That's interesting. Because at one point you were nothing either. Shit. Somebody had to wipe your butt. But it has that air. Since we're dealing with all of these red flags, yeah, we're going to talk about them. And some of these are not pretty, like that one. Now, let's talk about the enablers. Oh, this was all across the board. Because I told you I went, unfortunately, the algorithm, after watching the whole R. Kelly thing, they just kept suggesting me groups, cults, this, situations, organizations. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I needed like a mental break. Then I started watching other stuff. It's crazy. They all, across the board, had people around them who enabled their behavior. R. Kelly, we're going to do him first. He paid them. So a lot of the employees said, I saw that. I didn't like it, but he pays me. I got to do it. Right? The lady, the wife from the guy of Twin Flames, they're still together. But you got to look at that docuseries, man. There's a point that the guy's like, shut up. Like, you got to know your place. I'm like, oh. And this is live in front of the community. But everybody's like, yeah, you're still doing a great job. No one checks them. This is the issue. It's the people also around who allow the bad thing to happen. So if there is an inkling that something is wrong and you are going along with it in the spiritual realm, in the business realm, in the whatever realm, you are complicit, sir or ma'am, or they. Or whatever you want to call yourself. Don't care. You're still human. This is the issue that I'm having with our traditions at this moment, which is the main purpose of this podcast episode. Yeah. Another part. I am protected by blank. So I am protected by God, right? That's the Twin Flames guy. R. Kelly, nobody can do anything. I am protected. You know, he's got money. So I'm protected by money, right? And his contacts. The doctor, I'm world renowned. I'm protected by, the hospital and whatever. And, I'm protected. So the spiritual, the God, the other members can always see you in this way. You are protected. You will drill that. You will drill that. That crazy guy, I forgot what his name is. It's some weird name. I think I found that on YouTube. That was weird. I might have to find him. He would force the women and the children to say that he is God. God is him. He is God. God is he. And they would have to say this over and over and over and over and over. It was wicked, man. Yeah, I've heard this actually within our traditions. We're going to talk about our traditions. We have to be very, very real. Yeah, my egun protect me, which is true. They do. All eguns protect us, right? but it's more like I could do anything under the sun and I will never fail. I will never falter. They will always do that. So I could kill 15 people and I won't go to jail. See, I'm protected. Stick with me, kid. Got you. That's the type of messaging that we are looking for. Another message which lines into this is a message of your actions are always being watched. This was across the board, but not so much with the doctor because he was just like trying to keep all his crap hidden. But everyone else, including all those other crazy organizations, same thing. We're always watching you. And how it was done in religious organizations, God is watching you. But what was really in play was that the people were watching each other. So they were self-monitoring each other. But there is a message of the actions even that you do in private, they're always being watched. We're watching you. And it's a progression. It's a process. It's like a process of grooming, very, very little. It kind of reminds me of the elephant. So when you're training an elephant not to run away, and when the elephant is very, very young, you chain him. You chain him with very, very heavy chains. And that poor thing is struggling, but he can't even lift his leg. It's like so much that it comes to understand that it will never be able to go. So you're able to tie him with a nice loose rope when he's nice and big because in his mind, he cannot get free. Same here. It is drilled into you. So in our world, for example, how this translates to us, los espíritus te están velando. The spirits are watching you. Orisha is always watching, which is true. They always are. But this is not in the context that I'm saying. It's more like every single bad thing you do against me is being watched, which is true. Every single bad thing you're doing and every single good thing is doing. But it's more in the air of, I'm watching you. I gotta find a creepy voice. I'm watching you. Oh my God. That was funny. See, I'm having a delirious moment, but it's fun. I'm just saying, okay, not this topic. I just meant that part, the delirious part. Dang it, because I don't want to offend people. But seriously, it's the message of every single action that you make, that especially the ones that I have deemed wrong and are punishable, I will find out about it. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? That's what it's like a program that you are being done to. It's being done to you. And here's the thing. I promise you that if you are going through this, you're not listening to this podcast. It's more of when something is wrong and you're starting to wake up, that's when you're going to reach out because they have such a good hold on you. This would be for those of you who are watching your friends and loved ones in very tight situations. I have a godfather, but I'm still able to have a conversation. You understand what I'm saying? And if I call him and he's like, babe, what's going on? And I'm like, this is what happened. Well, he's listening to it and he's telling me, well, what part did you do? Like, what happened? And he was like, well, this is what I think happened. This is what I think you should have done. There's no, I saw every single thing. The spirit told me this. Ifa told me this. No, that's not how it should be. So if, like I said, if you're listening to me, you're probably not in this predicament or you're waking out or you're out of it. This is more for those of us who are listening, who are able to hopefully spot it in the people we love. Or understand what we have been through. And I highly suggest that if any one of you have ever been through anything like this at all, please get yourself some therapy. There is no judgment in that. There are some awesome people that will help you break this down till you're able to understand it and be okay with it. It happened to you. You are not this thing that happened to you. Okay? All right, next section. I don't even know how many pages I have left. Dude, I'm still going. I may have to do this in parts because this is going to take forever. I call this section Fun At. Fun At. Why? because there's someone that is always going to find a way to make fun of you. All three did this. So my three examples, they all did it. They found a way to make fun of others or make fun of the people that they were victimizing in front of others. So for R. Kelly, it was obviously the girls and everybody else who was making fun of him. But it was mostly the girls. And the twin flames is anybody else who's against them. And the doctor is any other doctor or anyone who went against them. And here's another thing. Somebody who is beneath them. And that I found really, really interesting. They make fun of you first, right? Alone, little bit, little jokes, tiny little jokes that you like, okay, yeah, we can laugh at it because I laugh at myself. Like if you have not seen the YouTube video of me thinking that I'm having a spiritual moment, and it was my earbud that had fallen in my shirt. I mean, that was hysterical. We should laugh at ourselves, right? It's funny. But when they are now taking the time to laugh at you often or say the same jokes that really make you feel bad, and they tell you, I don't know why you're taking it personal. I've seen this and I've heard this, and other people have told me that they have experienced similar things in our traditions. And right up to that, they tell you, hey, you're messing up. And because you're messing up, then they're going to make fun of you because you're messing up. So it's like they're making fun of you. You're trying to avoid it. You're trying to be good about it. You're trying to be okay with it. Like, yeah, let's joke around, right? And you're always messing up. So that now translates into a feeling of not doing anything right. It sucks. I'm not going to lie. And when you listen to other people tell you their stories, this is where it gets really, really sad to hear, because then it's not just that. Then they're involving others in the process of making fun of the one that they're currently not in favor at the time. It's a topic of conversation. It is, like this one never does this right. And somebody told me recently a very interesting story, and I felt so sad for her. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. And I want us to start just with these. And I think just so that we can process these, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a quick look. Oh, yeah. We are going to do this into 2 podcast episodes because I think that we need to probably stop a moment to digest this bit. And the next episode, we are going to do part 2. And it's one of those episodes that it's not a happy one. I think I may have laughed maybe twice, and one was just delirium, I think, and then, thinking of something else. But this is a very serious topic. And if we are going to do better, we have to protect ourselves and protect the people we love the best way we can. Because as we know from when you're in love, right? It's, no, he's the person I'm going to marry because I love him and you don't understand and I'm going to make it work. I get it. Same premise here. But if we can, let's try to always be there for these individuals, because hopefully they will wake up. And the only thing that we can say is at this point is, Olofi, Egun, Orisha, everybody at this point, whoever, virgin of the pens, please help them to open their eyes. I'm seeing something that's not right. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I've studied psychology. That was my major at one point in school. Took a lot of courses, fell in love with it, but I am not it. So find yourself assistance. If you are seeing someone that is going through stuff and it's bothering you, get yourself some help there too. We all need to help each other and to be there for each other. And I say this for the now. you have reached the end of this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, because this is a delicate topic. This is a difficult topic, and I'm hoping that together we can strive to raise awareness on red flags so that other people don't have to go through it as hard as others, or at least that they have a better start. And normally I try to end in a very cheerful way, so you know the drill. This is going to be on YouTube. This is going to be everywhere. I would love, love, love to read your comments, because the stories that I have received are very heartbreaking. And we have to be there for each other. We have to be there for each other in the spiritual realm. And spiritual is a huge aspect of how we live. It affects how we think, our emotional. It affects our health, our body, our biology. And this is why I'm creating these, so that we can have a better start. If you have had a bad experience, maybe they're not, a crazy leader like this, but they had one of those, and that was enough. Like if they have that egotistical, it's us against the world, and anybody who talks against me because I am the only one favored by my Orisha, put Orisha name here, put ego name here, put muerto name here, put entity here, or I am untouchable. This is a problem, and it happens in our traditions more often than what we care to even acknowledge. Yeah. If you want more information, of course, go to orishawisdom.com/Yvonne, and that would be I like indigo, V like Victoria, O like orange, N like Nancy. And I'm going to be updating that always. And all of the new links, like the link to YouTube should be there, and all of that other stuff should be there. And this is, of course, going to be found in iTunes and everywhere you listen to your podcast, as well as YouTube. If you have not done so, I hope that you become part of the Facebook community, the Orisha Wisdom community. Answer the 3 questions. You know about that, because I say it all the time. If you want to support us, of course, go to patreon.com/ I think it's Yvonne_reborn, but you can find the link at orishawisdom.com/ Yvonne and support us. It could be in one of the tiers that are there, or you can create your own. I've had some people do that. I was like, you could do that? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so clueless. Or become a Your Virtual Ile founding member. That would be phenomenal. So I will say this. Let's think about this episode. Let's discuss this episode. I'm looking forward to your comments. I will be looking for them on the Facebook page, Facebook group, and YouTube. Those are my main ones. I do answer emails, but sometimes it takes me forever to answer them. So those are going to be the 3 that I will get to. I will say this to you. Stay safe. Pray always to your guardian angel that your eyes are open so that you are able to see. Yeah. May your elevated ancestors, may they bless you. May they nurture you always. May your Oris take you straight to where your destiny lies. Part 2 will be coming next in episode 99. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Egun, Orisha, and Ifa is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.